Let's have a look at the control layout and the functionality of the Luxli Timpani 1x1 RGBAW light. To turn it on, very easy, just one simple press of the red button and you'll see the light will now boot up to its main operating screen. And you can see it's a nice big, clear, concise screen that gives you all your information here, which is really nice. It's good to see a manufacturer finally make a decent screen on an LED light where you can see all your information so clearly. So very easy. In this particular mode, we're in the CCT mode. It tells me what mode I'm in up in this top right hand corner, and you've got all your key information here. So this one here is your intensity on the left hand side, and we can go up in 1% increments, and we can go all the way down to 1% and it still stays on. Then if we go over to this side here, this is changing our Kelvin color temperature, and again we can do it in 50 Kelvin increments, and we can go all the way down to 2800 K, and then we can go all the way up to 10,000 K. Now, even if you're not really interested in a lot of the RGB features on a 1x1 panel light, this is one of the main benefits of going with RGB. An RGBAW fixture is that you have the ability now to go between 2800 and 10,000 instead of just between 3200 and say 6000 that you would on most bi-color 1x1 panels. Now it's also got a plus minus green adjustment here, and very easy. You'll see these things here are easy to control. They're next to actually a particular button, so if you want to access that particular feature, so say in this case our plus minus green adjustment, we just press that corresponding button and up comes a nice detailed concise screen. And you can see it also gives us a nice color indication, so it shows us exactly what we're doing, because sometimes plus minus green can be a little bit confusing. You're wondering whether you're going towards green or you're going away from green. This way this shows you exactly how that works. Now we use the controller again and you can see it goes up, and you can see this way we're adding green. Now the nice thing about this light is it's not just adding a tiny bit of green. You can go green crazy if you want. This goes all the way up and you can add 100% green into your light, which basically means you're creating a green source, which is really handy for matching certain lights, because if you can only do a plus minus green adjustment of say up to 1 or 10% for instance, right, you can only match a certain amount of lights. If you're working in an environment where you have really bad say overhead fluorescent lights and they're super green, you can match it because you can put in so much green on this. Again, the other direction, if we want to take green out and add magenta, just like we did with the green, we can go all the way to 100%. So massive amounts of adjustment on this particular light here. And all the time you can see it's also still telling us our CCT, or our Kelvin color temperature in this instance here, 6750, and it's also telling us other operational aspects of the light here, that our Bluetooth is on and also our power output is here as well. So even if I want to make adjustments in this mode, you can see I can still see that percentage increase on here. I don't have to go back to another screen to work out what I'm doing. So to get out of this mode, we press the mode button once, and now we're into the next mode, which is our HSI, hue, saturation and intensity mode. Now what's really nice that Luxli have done is they've put an entire big color spectrum palette on here so you can see exactly what color you're creating. The problem with a lot of other RGBAW lights is they just come up with values you can set for red, green, blue and white, and then you're trying to work out what color that's going to create, and you can't really tell until you actually look at the front of the fixture to see what it's doing. Here you know exactly what you're doing. So again, you can see we've got our different buttons here that are showing us what we're adjusting. So in this case we're adjusting the hue. It's lit up yellow. Whatever's in yellow means that's what's getting adjusted. So by using this dial here, we're now adjusting the hue. If I want to change the saturation of that particular color, I just press this button and you'll see now it's lit up yellow instead of white. And now when I make an adjustment, I'm adjusting that axis. I'm now adjusting the saturation, and this of course will adjust our intensity of that color. Really simple to use and a really quick way of creating colors, a lot simpler than most other manufacturers are doing with their RGBAW technology in terms of doing hue, saturation and intensity. Again, to get out of this mode, super simple, press the mode button, and now we're into our filters mode. Now this is another really good feature of the Timpani light, is that there's 150 preset filters in here doing just about everything. And again, what you can remember here is that you can actually change your color Kelvin temperature here at the same time as adding these filters. This is really nice feature, being able to do this, because then I can go and set my color temperature to a certain degree and then add the filter, and the filter will affect whatever that Kelvin color temperature will be. So if I go back to the gels, now you can see I can scroll through them. And again, what's really nice is that you have all these different gels in here, and you can see sort of what they're doing, because Luxli has put in this sort of color palette here, which is telling you pretty much the sort of indication of what that filter is going to do when you select it. So again, massive amounts of choices. Just about anything you can possibly think of you can do with this light. Just some of the options on here, you know, handy ones like chroma key blue, chroma key green, plus green. You've got all these, you know, quarter greens, eighth of a green, minus greens, full CTOs, quarter CTOs, you know, all sorts of different things, pale salmon, whatever you can think of, you've got in here. This is a really handy feature. And again, if I want to manipulate the color temperature revolving around this gel, I just press this button and then I can adjust my Kelvin color temperature, which is going to make changes as well. So again, to get out, press the mode button, and now we're into our special effects modes. And you can see if I scroll down through here, we've got CCT chase, color chase, explosion, fire, fireworks, lightning, paparazzi, pulse, siren, strobe. Say we go back to explosion, for instance sake. Now you'll see on here we've got these controls. So the play button, which it looks like here, that actually starts our effect. So again, it's corresponding to our buttons here. So if I press the button, it starts my effect and off it goes. Now if I want to make adjustments to that effect, I can either change, of course, the intensity of that effect, or if I press the settings button, you can see I can change the amount of explosions per minute that will happen. I can also change the duration in a percentage of how that works. Again, I can just move between these two, and then by selecting it, you can see I now make my change in big, clear, bold letters. Once I get to the spot I want, I can confirm it and I'm ready to go. Press the back button to get back out of here. Now if I press out of there and press the mode button again, we're back into our normal operation. Now there's other menus here inside the settings icon. So if I press the settings icon, up we've got, you can see we can save our presets. This is where our DMX can be configured. Our Bluetooth, we can turn that on or off, and about in terms of working out whether you've got the correct firmware, etc, etc. If I go into presets, for instance, now this allows me to save a bunch of presets. So preset A, so that'll now save whatever the last particular effect I'd put on there. So if I put confirm, I've now got a stored preset. The only problem is you can't label any of these, so you don't actually know what they are, so you would probably have to write them down to remember how to use them. So I can load up that preset by pressing this, load preset A, confirm, and now I've got that preset there. So there you go, there's a quick look at the Timpani light, and now we're going to show you how to use their Luxli Conductor app via Bluetooth to control a lot of the functionality of this particular light. So let's have a look at how you control the Luxli Timpani 1x1 RGBAW light using the Luxli Conductor app. Now this app is available for both Android and iOS, and it works via Bluetooth. So simply by pressing the app, we now bring up this control panel. So fairly simple operation. As you can see on the side here, this is obviously brightness. Put that down to there. Now if we want to do our colors, our hue, saturation and intensity, here we can do this simply just by moving this around. You can see how easy it is. Just move it to any point and you'll see it change over there on the light. Move it across and then it changes no matter where I move it. Really handy and very quick to be able to find whatever color you want, and if you want to go back and create white light, you know, you can just drop it down the bottom of the spectrum to to get close to doing that. So that's really nice and handy to use. Now what I can also do here is press this button here, and this gives me white balance and use filters. I'll just turn that off for a second. And so now here we've got these preset white balances in here that are labeled different things. So this allows us to just bring up preset white balances that are in the system here very quickly. So this one is 3200, this one is 43, this is 56, this is 6000, I think this is 8000, and this one here is all the way up to 10,000. I'll go back to regular 5600, and then if I press the use filter on here, you can see I can now use these filters. So I can then just go between, and you can see all the filters changing on here. And again, you can see it moving along this color strip palette that's showing me what sort of color it's going to produce based on the filter that is here. So that's really nice. It's a really nice effect being able to use this. I can then turn the filter straight off if I don't want to use that. And then here I can go into effects. So I can change a few of the different effects on here. By changing how they work. And I can actually turn them on or off, so I can start them going here by pressing this button up the top, which is a play button, which is now playing the effect. This is very similar to what we saw before using the back of the light. And to stop that, I can just press that pause button there, press back to get back out of it. I can bring up other different ones here. These ones are labeled a little bit strange. I'm not sure what these are actually. I haven't been able to work it out. But again, we'll change something. And this one I can't seem to be able to play. I think this is relatively new, and I think they'll probably try and update this app and make it a little bit more usable. But there is a few functionality issues like we're seeing here with some of these that aren't labeled very well and don't seem to really do anything. So I'm just going to get back out of that one. And now this is the really, really cool thing that you'll see on here. There is a way of doing what's called color picking by using an eyedropper. So what I can do is I can take a picture of anything, or I can bring up any picture that happens to be in my library. So if I go here, for instance, and I want to find something, say we've got this yellow pot here, and now what I've got this color picker. And as you can see, if I move it over any of these colors, the light is now going to replicate that color. Again, I can move it across. If I move it onto the green leaves, see what's happening. This is really nice way of being able to reference a particular color that you may have on your phone and recreate it. Again, you can do this with either videos or with still images, and you can also do it in real time as well if you've got it set up. So again, I'll just go back into some photos and I'll find another photo of something. So here we go. Let's have a look at this one here. So say we've got some pink tape here again. You can see if I move it over the pink tape, it's replicating that color. Of course, it's not going to be able to do it for every single color. If I put it onto the gray here, it's going to get a little bit confused because it doesn't really sort of know what to do. Same as if I put it up onto here, you're going to get sort of varying results. But it's really handy being able to have the ability to be able to take pictures of images or use images that you've already got and create all of these colors. And I'll just try and get back out of that if I can remember how to do it, which I don't seem to be able to remember how. There we go, just press that button to get back into that mode. So there you go, that's just a quick look at some of the functionality of using the Conductor app here with the Luxli Timpani light.